Good evening, everyone. Chip Cooper for FTC Guardian and my partner, Alan Cutts. This is the last Hangout for FTC Guardian and you for the year 2019. As you know, we don't have two this month. Typically, we have two, but the last month, we don't want to interfere with the holidays. So it's just one, and this is it. Now, as you can see from the title slide here, it's all about CCPA, which is the acronym for the California Consumer Privacy Act, going into effect very shortly, January 1, 2020. Now, one thing to point out here, very important regarding this presentation for update 3 of 3 regarding CCPA, this one is focusing primarily on those of you who are engaged in targeted advertising, retargeted advertising, personalized advertising, also known by the FTC as online behavioral advertising. And the reason is we think that there is a possibility that you may be involved in the sale of personal information of California residents and not be aware of it. And that's the real purpose of this particular Hangout. Plus, another bonus here, we're going to present to you and provide to you, and Alan's going to show you exactly how to go about doing it, creating your own privacy statement for California residents, a document here that will help you get started with CCPA compliance. So that's really the introduction. Let's just get started here with the presentation. If we can get moving here.
Hey, just a second, Chip. Before we get started, let's just make sure everybody. Hey, can everybody just give us a quick yes that you can see our screen and you can see Chip and I before we get started. We don't want to get started without knowing that everybody can see us. Just give us a quick little yes. Okay, we got it. We're good.
Okay. All right. So now we move to the housekeeping announcement. The presentation is for informational purposes only. It is not legal advice, and we are not affiliated with the Federal Trade Commission. All right. I'm going to really go through this introduction very quickly because we've covered a lot of it, if not all of it, in the two prior Hangouts, and then we'll focus on the issues related to retargeting ads. So what is CCPA? It's privacy legislation passed by the California legislature last year. It takes effect, as I said earlier, 1/1/20, and it potentially applies to any of you that markets to or collects personal information, personal data from California residents. That's it in a nutshell. Now, the threshold question, obviously, that we've talked about in prior Hangouts, and we'll review it very quickly, is the question you see there: does CCPA apply to you? And there's really two sets of tests. The first one is you would have to meet all of these three criteria, which just about anyone who's in business online would satisfy. You do business in California, right? You sell there. Number two, you collect personal information as part of sales. And three, you determine how to use the personal information. So you've checked off all three of those. The real key is meeting any one of these criteria in addition to the other three. And if you look at number one, annual gross revenue of greater than $25 million, which we believe probably wouldn't cover most of our members. We certainly hope it does in the future when you grow your business, and we'd like to help you get there safely. But we feel that most of our members are not in that category. So you may be tempted to take a sigh of relief that this really doesn't apply. And then if you go to number three, gets 50% or more of your annual income from the sale of California consumers' personal information. That probably would not apply either, and you're feeling pretty good that CCPA is not anything you need to be concerned about. The problem, though, is the middle one, number two, and we'll focus on it here. It's called the volume test, or we refer to it as the volume test. And here it is. You buy, sell, or share personal information of at least 50,000 California residents or households or devices annually. And you might say, gosh, that's a lot. We don't do that. But here's the problem, and this is what we're going to be focusing on in this presentation. If you're involved in targeted ads, behavioral advertising, it may involve, the process of doing that may involve selling as it is defined under CCPA. There's no consensus at the present time as to whether it actually does involve selling, but there's a lot of commentary in the legal community. I follow this stuff that argue that it could very well be construed as a sale And that being the case, that would apply to any or all of you who are engaged in targeted or personalized ads. And here is why. It is known as the ad tech model for retargeted advertising. And you can see on the left side, moving from left to right, advertisers make ad requests to the ad exchange and ad networks, and they also do it indirectly through ad agencies. But what goes on within these ad exchanges and networks is generally referred to as programmatic advertising, meaning that software does the bidding process for the placement of these ads. And that bidding process created by software known as programmatic advertising is what may be determined to be a sale under GDPR. So the reason that we then focus on this number 2 volume test is it could very much or very clearly be involved in bringing you into regulation by CCPA. And here's what you really need to focus on if you're thinking about whether this really applies to you. Look at the 2 arrows at the bottom of this slide, because you remember that number 2 that we were talking about, the volume test, annually buy, sell, or share personal information of 50,000 California residents. Now, when I read this some time ago, I thought, well, just like the other 2 tests, most of our members probably wouldn't be buying and selling and sharing, even if they're involved in retargeted ads of 50,000 California residents a year. But then my partner, Alan Cutt, says not so true. The key is that if you're, and here the second arrow there, if you're dropping cookies or pixels on a daily average of 137 unique California IP addresses, then you're satisfying that 50,000 a year requirement. So that's why we're here talking about it, because you may be satisfying that requirement and just not quite aware of it. And we're here to explain what you need to do. So that's the question. And there are really 4 basic steps. The last 2, number 3 and number 4, updating your privacy policy and updating your website, we can show you exactly how to do it. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. The first 2, we really cannot do a data audit for you, and we can't develop those policies and the procedure for giving the residents of California what they need to satisfy their data rights. But we can explain generally what you need to do. So we'll step through these 3 or these 4 issues here. First, the data audit. Why do you need to do a data audit? Well, the reason is CCPA gives California residents 4 basic fundamental rights, and here they are. The right of notice regarding the categories of personal information that you collected and why you do it and when you do it. The right of access, meaning who do you give access to, who do you share this information with, and what are their categories. Number 3, they have a right to delete their own personal information or to cause you to delete it. And of course, it's subject to what is known as a business purpose. For example, if you're an online marketer and you're selling things through your website, you really don't have to worry about a deletion by a customer of yours, because you need to share, for example, the personal information for a business purpose with whoever's going to fulfill the order, for example. So that's a clear exception to the deletion rule. And then the final right they have, the fundamental right, is the right to opt out of a sale. So these are the 4 basic rights of California residents under CCPA. And you need to understand that you need to be involved in making sure that you can deliver on these rights. So in order to do that, you need to conduct a data audit. You need to look at the data you have, how it's used, how it's shared. You need to identify who you share it with, that sort of thing. And then specifically for programmatic advertising, which is what we're really focusing on here, you need to identify and list these 4 categories of entities that might be involved in personal information. DMPs are involved in specific market segments, defining them. Ad servers deliver the ads. DSPs really involve the bidding of these for the media and optimization of it. And then finally, the ad exchanges, which really conduct this whole process. So that's a quick bullet point list of what you need to do in order to be prepared to deliver on these basic rights that California residents have. We can help you understand those a little bit, but really you're on your own to do that yourself. Then number two, you need to understand policies and develop a procedure for data rights management. In other words, how do you go about delivering these data rights to California residents? So the one purpose here involved in the procedure part of it is how you're going to honor these consumer rights requests. How are you going to handle a data request? How are you going to handle a request to cease data sharing and opting out, that sort of thing. And so if you're involved in programming advertising, and of course that's the subject of our presentation here, you're going to have to then strip out personal information from future ad requests, right? So that involves a fairly complicated process, possibly. Alan can possibly give you more guidance on that a little bit, but these are the things that you need to be developing procedures for in order to be able to honor these requests that are based on the rights that the California residents have under CCPA. Now we get to number 3 and number 4, which we can definitely help you with. The first being updating your privacy policy. Now, here's one thing that's extremely important for you. We're going to be talking about your privacy policy, and we're assuming, for purposes of this presentation, that you have already created the privacy policy for retargeted advertisers, which is not in our basic section, but in our supplemental document section. We're assuming that you've already done that. What you need to do now is to go to this paragraph, information sharing and disclosure, and delete what is shown here in the redlining, delete data brokers and aggregators. Under CCPA and compliance that we're attempting to help you with, you just don't want to have that in your privacy policy anymore. So that would be one important step right there to begin with. And then secondly, you need to update your privacy policy with a new document known as a privacy statement for California residents. And it has a lot of information in it, as you'll see when you get into exactly the document we're going to provide to you, which is a template. In short, though, in terms of a bullet point summary, it provides a notice of consumer rights, a notice of what you collect in terms of information, how you sell it, how you disclose it for the last 12 months. And then you have an obligation to update it every year. Now, prior to the CCPA, you could, put up your privacy policy, and whenever you made some significant changes, for example, if you had a basic privacy policy and then you determined to be involved in targeted ads, then you would have a need to update that privacy policy. But the difference between posting the original privacy policy in terms of time and when you would update it could be several years. But under this new statute, you've got to go back every 12 months and update the privacy policy, which is a totally new provision in terms of privacy regulation in the United States. And you need to also indicate what's pointed out here in the sub-bullets, what kind of information is collected, how it's collected and stored, how consumers access it. And then in yellow, there's a new link that's going to have to be placed on the bottom of your website pages, probably right beside your link to the privacy policy. And there it is. Do not sell my personal information. And we'll get to that in just a minute and show you. In fact, Alan is going to show you exactly how to do it. Now, this is where you go in the members area. Obviously, if you're a member. Now, if you're a guest, you can become a member and follow these steps. But our members know that they need to log into the dashboard. And then on the right column at the very bottom, there is, under the heading Rules of the Road and Strategies, at the very bottom, there is a title, a link title, as you see there in yellow, CCPA Guidance and Documents. And that's where you need to go to see the videos and also download this template document. I'm not going to run through the document, line for line. It would take too much time, but this is a screenshot of the first part of it. You see the title, Privacy Notice for California Residents, and you see on the right side, my comments for the template. In other words, change FTC Guardian to the name of your company, that sort of thing. Also, we move down here, there's some questions about whether or not you actually collect personal information in certain categories. So you'll see a whole list of categories. This one being Category A, identifiers, a real name, internet protocol, address, email address, and you see collected yes or no. You need to answer that question either yes or no. So that's something you need to do with respect to the template. And then this is a very important, wait a minute, let me get to this. This is a very important statement. We will not collect additional categories of personal information or use the personal information we collected for materially different, unrelated, or incompatible purposes without providing you notice. Now, that is what is regarded by the Federal Trade Commission as a promise. And if you make that promise, which this information is in the template, and don't deliver on it, it's viewed as a deceptive marketing practice. That's very important to understand. And then we have some other information here where we need to identify the categories of information that you disclose. And I've indicated A, B, D, and F, those categories, because if you're involved in retargeted ads, you're going to definitely be involved in sharing those categories. But on the right side are additional categories, and if they apply, you need to add them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your screen hasn't changed. We're still stuck at otherwise as described in your privacy policy page.
Wait a minute. Where is that?
That's the one where you talk about this paragraph has to be in it. We will not collect additional categories or personal information.
That's the page right there.
Okay, that's the page. That's the page we're on. Just so you know.
Well, then I'm going to move it to this next page. Do you see that? Disclosures of personal information for a business purpose categories?
Not yet. No.
Well,
no. It's
tell
still,
me when you see it.
Yeah, I don't see it yet. And I'm seeing it as two people because I'm logged in as a user on one and as me.
Right, I understand. So
right now it still says what I see is we will not collect additional information. So can you go backwards, maybe go backwards and then go forwards? There we go. That just changed over. Now it says category A, category B, category D, category F.
Wait a minute. Now I'm confused as to where you are.
Okay, it's moving now.
Okay. All right, that's the very beginning of the slides. Then we get category A, yes, no.
Yep, that's category A.
And this is where we were stuck. We'll not collect additional categories.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Then we're moving to this list. You see that?
Now I see the list. Okay, we weren't seeing that list a while ago, but I see
okay. All right. So you've seen that. Now we're moving to this one. That's a close-up of what we've already seen. And then this one, sales of personal information. And do you see that one?
No, I do not.
Okay, let me explain it, and hopefully
it just popped up.
All right, so maybe we've got a 4 or 5 second lag.
Yep.
So one of the key elements of this privacy notice is to indicate what you have sold, right? And so we are taking the position that we're not sure that your participation in retargeted, personalized, or online behavioral ads is really a sale. But we're adding a sentence here under this heading just to be sure. So it's important, I think, for you in terms of generating know, like, and trust is to actually say that you haven't sold this information as part of a monetary transaction, meaning part of a transaction which you generally would think of if you're selling data, right? You're selling it to a list broker, you're selling it to a data aggregator, a data broker. That's what you think of as a sale, and you receive monetary compensation in exchange. So that's what we think of as a sale, not so much participation in personalized ads. So you can see here this statement we recommend in the preceding 12 months, only if it's true, by the way, right? only if it's true, in the preceding 12 months, we have not sold personal information to data brokers, aggregators, or to other third parties with transactions involving the transfer of our lists for monetary compensation. And then this next sentence, we have engaged in retargeted, personalized, and behavioral ads via ad networks. To opt out, visit our privacy policy, right? So you can only make that first sentence statement if it's true. So be very careful there. And this is sort of do you see it now, Alan, the close-up of it? I believe you do. All right, moving on.
Yes.
Here's what you need to do. The new document, which is the privacy statement for California residents, is not going to be created with our generator. If you were involved as a member last year, 2018, you remember that we had a lot of coverage of the new statute out of the European Union, GDPR. And we created a set of videos and documents as templates, not a part of the generator, on the right side of the page. In fact, if you go to the very bottom and then up one link, you'll see GDPR documents and materials, I think, and guidance. We've just now created a new one right below that for CCPA, and we've approached it the same way. Rather than go to the generator, we've created a template for you, and also this replay video will be right beside it tomorrow morning, right? So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be going into the generator, however, and you're going to find the privacy policy that you've created. And you can see it there, the second one listed at the bottom of the page, privacy policy, retargeted or advertising embed. So that's where your current privacy policy is. And if you look at the blue arrow, you click that page icon in order to modify it, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to download our template, you're going to edit it accordingly with the instructions provided, and then you're simply going to go into your privacy policy for retargeted ads, and you're going to paste it to the bottom of it. That's all you're going to do. In fact, Alan is going to walk you through that process in just a minute. So basically, you've got to find your privacy policy, go to the modification of it, and paste this new statement in. And this explains a little bit how you do it. At the very end of the process, you've got to click I agree and continue in order to save the paste in of this privacy statement. Now we get to the last of four steps, the updating of the website. Very simple. You remember back to the beginning of this presentation, I said that you need to add this notice down at the bottom, a link, do not sell my personal information, right? Now, if your business is online only, it's very, very simple. You just put that link there. It points to the privacy policy, and the privacy policy, of course, has an opt-out email address, right? If you're not exclusively online, if you've got, say, a physical location and a website, you need to provide this information in three areas: the opt-out email address plus a toll-free number, and also on your privacy policy. So this is probably what it's going to look like on the bottom of your website pages: terms of use link, privacy policy, and then you're going to have the new link, do not sell my personal information, and it points to the privacy policy. Alan will show you a little bit more about that in just a minute. Now, there's a possibility that you may want to post.
Just so you know, we're still stuck on number 4 update website.
All right, but I'll go slowly on this one, and you'll catch up.
Okay.
So we are recommending that what you do is download the privacy notice, edit it as we've indicated here, and also in response to my marginal comments there, get it the way you want it, and then go into your current privacy policy and paste it to the bottom. That is what we recommend, not because it just seems to be the simpler of the two processes. The other one, which we're really not going to be talking about in detail here, is that instead of pasting the privacy notice to the bottom of your current privacy policy, you merely post it as a separate document. And if you do that, this link, do not sell my personal information, of course, would point to it. On the other hand, of course, if you follow our recommendation and paste it to the bottom of your privacy policy, this link has got to point to your privacy policy. Alan, again, will show you how to do it. Are we caught up now? Alan?
Yes, I just mute my mic. Yes, we're caught up.
Okay. All right, good. We're catching up. I'm getting very, very close. In fact, I'm at the end of my presentation. I'm going to be turning it over to Alan here as soon as we go through this set of bullet points. The beginning point here is that it's pretty easy to avoid CCPA regulation. If you're a small business and you're not grossing $25 million or more a year, and you're not involved in targeted or programmatic advertising. So if that's where you are, then you really don't have anything to worry about. However, if you're not involved in targeted programmatic advertising, but plan to do so in the near future, maybe it's part of your growth strategy for 2020, then you need to be very serious about, upgrading your privacy policy as we've described in this presentation. So compliance is highly recommended then for anybody who's involved in this type of advertising now, or as I just mentioned, anybody who contemplates doing it in the future. And again, the final recommendation or takeaway here is the beginning of the process for you is to log into the member area, go to the far right column and the bottom, and you will see CCPA guidance and documents, and there you'll see the videos and the template. Now, these are the tags that will be attached to this video. California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA. Also, it's similar generally in concept to GDPR. That's going to be there. Privacy, data broker, and data aggregator. So this is the end of my part of the presentation. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Alan, who's going to walk you through a little of the details of exactly how you do some of the things I've described, and he'll provide some other information for you. So I think what I need to do now is to share my screen, right?
No, just hang your screen because I'm not sharing mine yet. So we'll just wait.
All right.
Yeah, because I think I can turn I'll do it. I'll take care of it on my side. So the first thing I want to answer is a few questions. Is Dr. Gio, does this apply? And I'll answer this, Chip, because I'm not sure you understand the affiliate marketing side or you work in it. Does this apply to us? And if our business does not do retargeting, but an affiliate marketing our program uses retargeting, I would err on the side of safety. Even if you don't do it, it's an easy step, right? If you've got a website and even if you don't do retargeting, but your affiliates are doing it, it could come back to haunt you. So it's such an easy step to do. Just comply with it. And if you do what we ask you to do and to comply with it, then you won't be nailed later on with having to do it or something else. It's just easier to do it. Let's see. If not doing retargeting, am I safe? You're probably fairly safe. Well, I guess you're safe if you don't live in California, because if you live in California, probably a lot of your customers are probably coming from California, or that's your general target market anyway. It just really depends on how much advertising you're doing. And it doesn't necessarily, I talk about retargeting because retargeting just happens so easily.
Yeah, let me jump in. It's really the real dividing line here is whether you're doing retargeting. If you're not doing retargeting and you're not grossing $25 million plus every year, you're safe.
Well, now I wouldn't go that far. If you're a small business and you're not doing retargeting, if you're a decent sized business of any magnitude, like right now I'm looking at buying RVs. This is a good example. Right now I'm looking at buying an RV. I'm looking at websites all over the damn country, and all these RV dealerships are advertising to me all over the country. Honest to God, they don't know anything about retargeting because I'm not getting retargeting ads. But I'm searching Google, and I'm searching other places, RV Trader, all that. So if you're an advertiser and you've got enough Google ads out there that are hitting that, what you said that number was 170 a day? 100 and something ads a day.
130, I think.
Yeah, 130 clicks a day out of California. Then you need to be concerned. It doesn't have to be retargeting. if you're doing ads and you are maybe targeting California, or you get a lot of clicks from California, if you hit that 170, 130 something marks a day, 50,000 a year, right? Was it 50,000 a year? If you get 50,000 clicks a year from California, then yes, I'd be concerned, even if you're not doing retargeting.
Well, let's rephrase it then. If you're involved in advertising of any form, right, that involves clicks, then you need to be concerned and follow our recommendations here or somewhere else. But if you're a small business and not involved in advertising involving clicks, and you're not, when small business means you're not grossing 25 million and up a year, then you're pretty safe, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So if you're not really advertising, I mean, I would very easily, just from an advertising standpoint, a lot of my clients, I would very easily, even without retargeting, hit 50,000 clicks a year from California, just because of Google Ad Networks and all the just plain advertising. Now you throw retargeting in on top of that, it just magnifies it all. So it makes it so much bigger. So then it makes it's out there. So if you're doing any kind of advertising and you're doing that, then you need to be concerned. Can I block countries, but not individual cities? I understand Canada has a thing going on. Yeah, I don't know. This is from Richard. I know you can block countries because I do it in some of my networks. I can block countries. We block. I know when I do advertising, I do block countries because I block countries that I don't want customers.
Yeah, but countries aren't involved. It's the state of California.
Yeah. And you can, I know some of the advertising I do, I can actually block out states. Like I can block out New York because some people, New York has a state tax thing. And sometimes people want to block out New York so they don't have to collect sales tax or stuff like that. But you can block them out. But I mean, you wouldn't do that. It's just easier to comply than anything else. I'm going to address this, and then I'm going to go into showing people. We have a lot of people on this evening because one, it's a hot topic, and two, we invited members and guests to this hangout so that we want your business. We want our members to enjoy our membership, and we want you, if you're not a member, to be a member so you see what our members get. December is the only month that we don't do 2 hangouts every single month, where Chip brings the stuff. Chip brings it as an FTC compliance attorney and basically as an online attorney. We use FTC compliance because that's where we really started, but we also address this. I mean, this isn't necessarily FTC compliance. It's California specifically, right? But we talk about it. We talked about GDPR. It has nothing to do with FTC. It's GDPR. And which brings me to the next topic, and I'm going to just put it out there. We are going to do a hangout in January specifically for ADA. I have received hundreds and hundreds of emails from our members about this damn ADA stuff. We had a hangout May 9th of this past year.
This year, in fact, we had one last year as well.
Yeah, about ADA. I know. I'm on everybody's list. There's this Alley marketing, whatever, that's doing this JV Zoo thing. It's $42 and you can become ADA compliant. We're going to do a hangout in January specifically about ADA. Number one, ADA isn't just about visual. I mean, like Chip and I talked about it again today because I'm asking Chip, help me, man. God, I mean, we're seeing all these support emails about ADA. We've got to talk about it. So yes, there's some compliance, and larger companies are going to definitely need to be compliant. If they own a shop, they're going to need to comply. If they're doing $25 million a year or more, they're going to need to comply. But it's not, I mean, as Chip and I talked about it, one of the things, who is going to sue you if, quote unquote, you're not ADA compliant? It's going to be a trial attorney. Is a trial attorney going to want to sue you if you have no money, if you don't have deep pockets? If they can't make another payment on that jet, are they going to come after the jewelry store or whatever it is, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. So yes, I'm going to buy the damn product. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy this ADA, whatever it's called. I got the link on it. I had 3 or 4 people send me the link. I'm going to buy it. And of course, I'll have to buy all the, what are they called? OTOs. I'll have to buy all the OTOs just to see what all the OTOs are going to be, in there. I'm going to buy it. So we'll go through that in January, and we'll give you what you need to be, ADA compliant, or tell you how to go about doing it if you need it. But I mean,
right.
Quite frankly,
we're not part of my perspective of that presentation. It's going to be probably the second week in January 2020, which will be our first hangout for that month. There have been a few legal developments, not marketing, what Alan's just referred to, notably a failure to grant a case by the U.S. Supreme Court, but it has their failure to grant certiorari has legal effect. So it's a very significant development in the last 3 or 4 months, certainly after our hangout in May of this year.
Yeah.
So we need to update it, particularly because of all this activity that Alan just mentioned. And so we've already targeted the first hangout for January to be the update of these recent developments. And I might as well say the second one of January is going to be the 4 highest risk marketing tactics you probably already engage in and what you need to do to be compliant. So that's really what's on the calendar for January. Yeah. I'll let you have it back, Alan.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm going to purchase this ADA comply thingamajigger, whatever it is, and I'll buy all the upsells and do whatever to go through it all. And if it's quality and it's good, maybe at the end of January, I'll say, hey, this is your easiest, cheapest way. But Chip and I were laughing today, and it's like, okay, I can be ADA compliant for $42. Woo! Chip's like, shit, I got
not possible. Yeah. Not possible.
Yeah, he's got clients that are paying thousands of dollars to try to become ADA compliant. So we'll go. I'll buy it. I'll go through it. I'll share it with Chip, and if it's worthwhile, we'll tell you about it, and we'll go from there. But please,
all right, let's get on with CCPA.
Don't email me anymore about ADA. Okay, so I need to move my stuff around a little bit here so I can see what's going on, and then I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen. And Chip, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it. That's the member area, the dashboard.
Yep. Okay. So everybody, I'm logged in. Basically, I'm logged into Chip's account. This Chip has his account that runs for FTC Guardian. So at the very bottom, you will see the CCPA guidance and documents that Chip talked about right here. If you click on that, take a little while to load. You'll see the other hangouts that we've had regarding CCPA, and tomorrow Chip will have 3 of 3 underneath here. And here is the document, the download document that Chip was talking about right here. So this will be what you'll download and you'll go through. Okay. Also, I want you to notice, you can see it on this screen. I hadn't thought about it. Right down here at the bottom, you'll see this footer is a footer. It doesn't matter whether it's our main page or our membership area. You'll see in our footer, we have do not sell my personal information. It's already right here. Okay. And I'll show you what it looks like in a second, but we already have ours done. It says don't sell my personal information. Now I'm going to show you how you go about updating. Here's the supplemental documents. This is our privacy policy. Nope, it's this one right here, retargeting. Right here. You'll click on that. You'll take the document, the information that Chip gives you, and you'll go through and answer the questions. And then all you're going to do is you're going to scroll down here to the bottom of your privacy policy. You can see this is the stuff Chip pasted in. right here. And you're going to hit I agree, continue. And now it turns into an editor. And you're going to copy. After you go through and answer all the questions, I would suggest maybe copy it into a text file, like a notepad file or something like that, because you don't want it to be in Word, because Word brings in funky crap. So paste it into a notepad file or something like that. And then you're going to scroll down here and you're going to paste it right in here. Now, when you copy it, a lot of this stuff isn't going to be bolded because you're going to copy it out of a notepad file or something like that. So what you can do is just in here, you can highlight and you Control B or, bold, don't bold, right? Or bold and unbold, whatever. Okay. Now what you're going to want to do is if I go to in here, and if I click on this link right here, I have a tag set up that drops me in. I don't want to click on it because I'm already logged in. That drops me in right here. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. You can do it all in this editor right here. In this case, I'm going to click that flag. I click this flag and see it says don't sell. That's the little tag I'm using, the anchor tag I'm using. So now on our privacy policy, doesn't matter which page I go to. If you notice my privacy policy right here, if you look in the lower the lower left-hand corner, the URL for us is ftcguardian.com/privacy policy # don't sell, DONTSEL. So what it does is it lands the person right here when they click this link. Let me do it, and I'll do it in incognito and let it load since I'm logged in my normal browser. This is going to load, and it's going to drop the person right here for that specific California information. And you see what I did, and Chip suggested that we do this, is we added this text. Scroll above for our full privacy policy. And again, if I click this, it's going to take me to the top of my privacy policy. And all you have to do is when you come in here, you enter a tag. For example, like I entered the text. Scroll above, blah, blah, blah. I went up here to the top. Right there. And of course, this wasn't here before, right? I could click over here and do that, right? But I clicked right before the P. And before it, I put PP, privacy policy. So then what I did is I created a link down here. If I click on this, and the URL, it's HTTPS FTC Guardian /privacy policy /PP, which sends the people back to the top to see the privacy policy, the full privacy policy. And you can see I can put this here for them to do it, to go here. So this is actually is below, and they can still see this as well. So it's very easy to do. After you do all that, but again, you can come in here and do all the bolding, do whatever you need to do. Hit save change, and your privacy policies all updated on your website, and you're good to go.
Two quick comments. One thing, the reason Alan put those little flags or tags in there is so that if the first link, do not sell my personal information, takes you to the privacy notice, you want to know that just above the title of that privacy notice that you can see part of the privacy policy, so that the person who's clicked on that do not sell knows that the privacy policy is up there, right? And that's important because the opt-out for targeted ads, the opt-outs are the links are provided in the privacy policy. That's why that's important. And of course, you can see the finished product that Alan just described simply by going to our website and clicking on that link, do not sell my private information. And it takes you right here and you can see exactly the result of what he just explained. All right. That's it. That's all I have right now. Alan.
Every time you talk, I turn mine off so you can't hear me.
You're muted. Okay. All right. You're good now.
Yeah. So I want to invite non-members. I mean, many of you are members, but this is a big call tonight, and we have a lot of non-members on here as well. And I want to invite the non-members to join, to be a part of FTC Guardian. And I have a little offer for you. I'll make it available till the end of the year. And this is it. You'll should see it pop up on your screen. Here, yep, there it is. And what I'm going to do is on that page, when you click that link and you go to that page, you're going to see our normal $348 a year and our $997 one-time pay. If you look at that, it says use coupon code PRO50 or Pro Elite. If you use either one of those codes, when you click that link, you're going to go to a page that looks like this. So when you go to this page, if you want the annual membership for $348, then use coupon code PRO50. It will take $50 off the already 40% discounted rate off our yearly, off our normal membership, our monthly membership. Here, you can take that. You get the $50 off. If you just want to pay one time and get it all over with, it's totally up to you. Click on the $997 and use the Pro Elite, and it's going to take $500 off the membership. So it's going to make it $497 for a one-time pay. And I'll just show you real quick so you know how it all works. And click here. I'm going to click that. And I am going to enter the code Pro Elite. And apply. So you see it's $997. You do that. $497. So there you go. And you too can be a member and have access to this and all of our Hangouts, all of our past Hangouts, everything we do. We would love to have you as a member. Our membership, this is what you get every single month. We do 2 of these. We answer your questions. There's no place. I can guarantee you that for the $42 or whatever that ADA Comply is doing, they're not going to update you the next time ADA makes an update to the way things are going to happen. You can't. They're not going to do it for a one-time payment of $42. I don't care if it's JV Zoo or what it is. I mean, most of you who buy stuff from JV Zoo on a regular basis know that those products kind of fade away over a period of time. They're there for a while, but then they fade away over a little period of time. So I'm going to, if I can figure out how to do it, is turn off my screen share, because I think that's all we need to cover, right, Chip?
That's it, Alan.
I'm going to turn off my screen share, and I'm going to go back to here, back to normal view, and so I'm going to answer some questions now. Guest, it says, is it a one-time payment or annual? If you go for the $997 with the Pro Elite coupon code, it's a one-time pay. $497, one-time pay. You don't pay anything else. The other, if you can't afford $497, you can go for the 348 and use the Pro 50. It takes $50 off for the first year, and you can go that direction. It's totally up to you. Of course, I would do the 497, but it's totally up to you how you do that. Somebody, Phil here. If we generated a new privacy policy and replace our existing one with a new one, will that bring us up to date, or will it still need to make changes? No, you will. Right now, if you want to do what we just said, you want to do what Chip said and paste the old stuff in there. You don't want to regenerate a new privacy policy. There's no reason to do that yet. Again, as our members know, we're in the process of building and developing that new generator, and it's in process, right? It's there, and we just don't have the new document in the generator yet. The CCPA document in the generator for you to use. And not that it's a bad thing, because if you went through it and you developed it, you'd actually have to have in one more step. You'd have to have that document on your website, and then that document would have to link to the privacy policy. Right. So you have to do it. You just have one more step. So,
so one of the reasons we finally decided on this is pretty easy to edit the Word file, which is a template, follow the instructions.
Yep.
And paste it into your existing policy, which already has the link on your web pages. It just seemed like the more efficient way to do it.
Yeah. So if we do this document in the future, then you'd have to do it two things, and you have to link one to the other, so they have to go link it back to your privacy policy. So this is just for now is the easiest way to do it, and it's all explained inside the member area and where we're at. What else? I don't see any other questions that are really popping up. If we don't sell information, do we still need to include the statement, we don't sell information? Well, I would challenge you, because you may not sell it. You may give it away. If you're using Google Analytics, you're giving it away. Do you use Google Analytics or any other platform? Do you use an opt-in form? Do you, I'm in marketing. So, this is what I do for a living. So you may not be selling it, but you may be giving it away for use of something. So I would be a little concerned about that, because the information is out there. I would just make sure that I would just do what Chip is talking about, and it's so simple. Just do it. It's such a simple step. Just do it and make sure you're compliant, and you'll be okay. If you don't, then you're kind of like throwing your shingle out there and saying, well, the hell with them. I'm just going to risk it. And there's no reason to risk it at this point, when we provided you with the information and the documentation that you need. It doesn't make any sense. What's your business worth to you? It's a handful of, you could actually do this in, I don't know, let's say that you don't have any idea how to do it. It would take you an hour. Let's say you at least have logged into the membership site one time in your life. It would take you 15 minutes. It literally is copy paste. You drop it in there, and it's that simple. It will be, it's easy for you to do. So I would say just do it. Let's see. Anybody else here? Anybody else? I don't see anything else, Chip. So let's just let's start to wrap up. If you guys, I'll drop it in here. Some of you are still members, but here's the. Let me see if I still have the page up somewhere. I think it's called Step 1. Step 1. Yeah, I want to post that link in there. Again, this is only for the non-members. Members, you don't need to do anything with this. I'll post it in here. This is only for non-members. And it's the coupon code. If it hasn't showed up, it's Pro 50 or Pro LEITE, Pro Elite. Those are the two coupon codes. So there we go.
All right. So we have the holiday season coming up. New Year's, all of that. So the next time we're going to see you guys would be the second week in January.
Yep.
So have a very happy holiday season with your family, and we'll see you second week in January 2020.